Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. Seeing some partly cloudy skies out there this morning. Plenty of sunshine as some of the clouds we saw earlier have moved out of the area. Seeing winds have shifted out of the northeast with the peak wind up around 10 miles per hour in the last hour, and starting to see those temperatures rise up into the lower 70s. Overall, expecting a nice weather day ahead with some fairly seasonable temperatures. No precipitation or lightning will be expected. We'll see some additional cloud cover build in as we move into the afternoon time frame, but we'll see those clouds breaking up once again as we go into the evening, and we'll be moving into a stretch of some very nice and seasonable weather with the next chance of seeing any precip likely as the boundary moves through the area on Saturday, but not expecting anything significant with that boundary. If we take a look at the current surface analysis, we have what was a decaying boundary pushing into the region, continuing to kind of wash out and move out of the area as high pressure kind of takes control over the local region. We'll be watching this cold front off to the northwest in the Great Lakes region as that pushes into the area for Saturday. That's going to bring that slight chance of a light shower or sprinkle during the daytime hours on Saturday, but really not looking at anything significant in the way of impacts with that front. If we look at the upper level winds from this morning sounding, seeing northeasterly winds closer to the surface, fairly light as we move through the mid levels, and seeing our peak wind at 34 knots at 20,000 feet. With those winds shifting more out of the north-northwest as we get in those upper levels, and seeing our freezing levels today around 14,700 feet. If we look at the current visible satellite, we can see where things have cleared out over the local area, but still watching those clouds off to the west that are tracking towards our local area, and we'll likely see some cumulus developing too as we get into the afternoon time frame. So good chance to see things becoming partly to mostly cloudy as we get through much of the day today. If we look at the European model here, zoomed out to take a look at the big picture, as we won't have much in the way of active weather moving through. We'll see dry conditions as we move through the day today, and that continues as we move into the day. Tomorrow we'll see a fairly similar day to what we're seeing today. And then as we move into Friday evening and Saturday morning, that front will start to approach the area along it. Model indicating some precip activity, and as it pushes through during the day on Saturday, that's when we'll see that slight chance of a shower or light sprinkle around the local area, but again, not really looking very likely or widespread, and if we do see that, won't be very impactful and fairly brief as that pushes through during the day on Saturday. And then things clear out once again and become quiet with high pressure still in control. And as we move into next week, we get what looks to be a more potent upper level trough digging into the northeast part of the country. That brings another boundary approaching the local area as we move into the start of next week. Overall, looks like a fairly dry boundary. I can't rule out a low end chance of maybe an isolated, once again, light shower or sprinkle, but again, overall things indicated that this could be a fairly dry boundary once again pushing through, but what we will see is some slightly cooler temperatures behind it as high pressure builds back in. It keeps things quiet as we move through much of next week. So if we look at the 24-hour weather risk chart for today, looking at green conditions over the next 24 hours, expecting our high temperature up around 74 degrees as we get into the afternoon today, and again, partly to mostly cloudy skies expected. Likely seeing our ceiling develop between 4,000 to 6,000 feet this afternoon, and we'll see those winds continuing out of the northeast at around 7 to 12 knots, becoming a bit more southeasterly as we get into the later afternoon and early evening. Then those winds become light and variable, and we'll see our temperatures cooling down to around 60 degrees with partly cloudy skies, and looking at a slight chance of seeing some patchy mist around the area as we move through the morning hours on Friday. Right now, tides are running about a half a foot to just shy of a foot above normal. And then looking at the extended forecast here, as mentioned, looking at very nice weather as we move through the extended forecast, seeing our temperatures fairly steady in the mid 70s for our highs, and right around 60 plus or minus a couple degrees for our lows. and then we pick up that about 20% chance of maybe an isolated shower or sprinkle during the day on Saturday. And then as we move into next week, we'll see some additional cloud cover with that boundary moving through, and still a low-end chance of a shower or sprinkle for today on Monday, and a high of 77 before we start to see a cool off with our lows getting a bit cooler down into the mid-50s, and our high temperature right around 70 as we move into the middle of next week, with a slight breeze developing with that front pushing through as well, but nothing too significant looking at this time. So that's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 and 10 a.m. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day.